to sneak his phone past the school gates. This kid hollowed out a textbook, dropped the phone right inside. Perfect fit. He figured why keep a good thing to himself. Started charging classmates 10 yuan a phone to smuggle theirs in too. Strapped the rest of them all over his body. His classmates lost it. They called him a straight-up genius. Then, right at the front gate, a phone went off out of nowhere. Mike let out a curse on the spot, but he came prepared. He immediately pulled out a decoy phone and handed it to the teacher. The teacher wasn't totally buying it, but let him through anyway. Before he could even breathe, a stranger ripped his backpack right off him and smashed every single phone onto the ground. Mike charged at the guy ready to throw hands. The man used Mike's own momentum against him and slammed him hard onto the pavement. Turns out that morning, Mike and his crew had come flying out of a breakfast spot, crashed right into this guy, didn't even say sorry, and scuffed up his brand new sneakers in the process. The man's name was Jack. He had been waiting right up until Mike made it through the security check. Then he made his move. The hidden phones were out in the open now. A teacher dragged Mike straight to the office. The principal decided to make an example out of him. Mike was ordered to stand up at the opening ceremony and apologize in front of the entire school. Mike was furious. He swore he was going to make Jack pay for this. He walked back to his classroom. Jack was standing right there at the front of the room. He was the new teacher. Mike saw his opening immediately. Right in the middle of Jack's introduction, he jumped up and loudly announced he had to use the bathroom. A few other troublemakers in the class jumped on the chaos and started acting up too. But nobody in that room had any idea. This teacher, who had already embarrassed himself on day one, was actually a highly sought-after educator the school had paid a fortune to bring in. He had walked in and made a bet with the principal on the spot that he could take the school's worst-performing students and get them into top universities. Jack laid out 3 conditions. The principal agreed to all of them, but to put this class together, he had to sign up at least 5 students within 1 week. 3 days went by. Not a single student signed up. Jack wasn't going to just sit around and wait. He had his assistant pull together a list of students. Mike was at the top of it. According to the records, Mike had scored number 1 in his entire grade last exam, then completely tanked the most recent one, landing near the very bottom. That kind of swing didn't add up. Jack had a hunch. Mike was actually brilliant. He decided to pay him a visit after school, but Mike didn't go home after school. He headed straight to a second-hand electronics market. Jack held back and didn't follow right away. He watched from a distance. Mike had already spotted him. Jack had no choice but to walk up and say it straight. He told Mike he knew exactly what he was doing, deliberately scoring just enough to qualify for the scholarship. Not a point more. Not a point less. Jack wasn't surprised. He told Mike that acing a test was easy, but controlling your score down to the exact point that took a different level of skill. Mike wasn't interested in hearing any of it. He made that very clear. Jack didn't push. He figured he'd find another time to talk. But something happened the very next day that changed everything for Mike.